What's up, guys? It's Colton Stone here, and today I want to show you a little trick that I learned about how to get samples into GarageBand. So I know a lot of you guys are out there trying to ball on a budget, and since GarageBand comes free with any Mac computer, I want to show you a way to get some of the kits and stuff like that that you can download from producers or 808s or anything like that into GarageBand where you can actually use it like a real instrument. So if you've downloaded like some of these drum kits offline or some that you found for free, because there's a lot of really good drum kits for free out there, and you have the samples in your library, but you can't figure out how to get them into GarageBand, I'm going to show you how you can do that. You can actually do the same thing in Logic Pro if you want to. There's multiple ways that you can get samples into Logic Pro, so it's not necessarily like this is how you have to do it, but it is one way of doing it. It's a really simple process, but if you don't know how to do it, then it can be really confusing. So the first thing you want to do is open up a GarageBand project, and I just have an electronic drum kit here, 808. This is the stock GarageBand 808 sounds, which aren't terrible, but they could be better. We're going to come up here, and I'm going to click on this little knob up top. It's going to open this page. Then it's going to open up this thing that says plugins. Click on that drop down arrow. Then right here, this first line that's separated from all the rest, these are just your effects. This first line is going to be your instruments, okay? So click on the arrow for that. We're looking for the AU sampler. It's under the category AU instruments, okay? Under Apple. So this comes stock. You don't have to download this. This is all within any Mac computer that you get. AU sampler. For right now, I'm going to do mono. You can do either one. It works the same. I'm just sending a mono signal out to what I'm recording the audio on. So I'm going to just do that. It's going to open up this page. We have a built-in sine wave. So when I click on this, like if I click anywhere, you can hear that it's just making the sound of a sine wave. All right. I'm going to first, it won't let me delete that sound until I add something else. So I'm going to just first add in something. And I'm going to go to the folder on my computer where my samples are at. And I'm going to use this LifeStyleDidIt ammo kit right here. This is free, by the way. And if you don't know LifeStyleDidIt, he's a producer and he's also on YouTube. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He's really good, got a lot of good information, and he makes really incredible kits and stuff like that. So this is just one of his free kits, so I'm going to use that for an example. Big shout out to LifeStyleDidIt, guys. So the first thing I'm going to start out with is a kick. So I'm going to go into the area where it says kicks, find one I like. So let's try this Dreams kick. It's a pretty good sounding kick. And I'm going to just open that sound, okay? And then I can come back in here and delete this sine wave. All right, under the kick. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the root to be C2. Now, within GarageBand, when you're using the kits that are in GarageBand, they're going to be stock. The kick is on C1. Normally, that's how I was setting things up, but there's a glitch within this system to where it puts everything an octave lower. Basically, what that means is that if I set it to be C1, that sound is actually going to appear on C0. It's like that on my old Mac. It's like that on this newer Mac. It doesn't matter. It's just some sort of glitch in the system. So be sure to put it in an octave higher. I know that sounds really weird, but you'll kind of see why as we build up a sound, some sort of like sound for you guys to hear it with. So I'm going to just set it to be C2 because I really want it to be on C1. I'm going to come here to where it says key range, and I'm going to change that to C2. And then all the way through C2. So it's only going to be on one note, you can see. And then when I play it, okay, it's going to be the same sound right there. Now, if I had changed this and put it as, let's say, C3, so the root is now on C3, it's going to change that sound because what it's doing is it's going to play the actual sound that you wanted on C3. So since you're going an octave lower, it's going to play it at a lower octave. It's just going to change the sound. This is what it sounds like. So it can create some cool effects if you want to mess with the drum kit a little bit. But for the most part, want to leave that the same. And then you just repeat the same process for each one of the instruments that you want to add. So your snare drums, your hi-hats. So I'm just going to load up one that I've made really quick. So first of all, let me just address that I've put this one as C1. Again, there's going to be a glitch. It's going to go to C0. So I'm going to show you a little bit later on what I'm talking about with this octave change thing, and it'll make sense. But know that it normally should be on C2, and you're going to see why later. The way it works is usually you have a kick here, then on D, E flat, and E are like a group of snares, and then F to, I don't know, sometimes G sharp is going to be like hi-hat sounds. Normally on these white keys is where they start with the toms, and then on the black keys is where they have the cymbals. So you kind of have to audition this stuff or see where everything's mapped out. Depending on what kind of kit that you want, if you want to have a lot of like ride cymbals on one or something like that, you're going to have to map out where you want that. But it's as simple as just finding where it's at normally in GarageBand and changing it to that. It's not even really a necessity to do that. This is just for if you've made a loop or you already have loops or something like that you've put to GarageBand sounds. It'll be an easy transfer over. So this is just a really basic kit. So I have 2 snares on D and on E. So we have on D, it's a really clicky one. Then this one just sounds a little bit different. Then on E flat, we have a clap. And then on G flat, we have a hi-hat. It's just a basic closed hi-hat. So now let's build a drum beat. So I'm gonna set the tempo to be like 90. I like the tempo 90. It's a very groovy pocket tempo. Now if you remember what I was talking about, if I put a mark on C1, it's not gonna do anything, even though that's what I've set my kick drum to be. But it's moved it down here to C0. But it's a pretty basic thing. It's simple to do. It's simple to fix. No big deal. And I'm just going to put together a really quick drum beat. Nothing too fancy, but just so we can hear how this sounds. Alright, so here's a very basic drum beat, and you can hear how this sounds. So you can hear that's a lot better sounds than in our stock GarageBand files. Not to knock them. There's certain times where that actually can be a vibe on a track. But if you want to be able to use all these free kits that are online that have these different sounds in them, this is how you get them into GarageBand. You can do the same thing with pitched stuff like 808s, like if you want to use them as bass sounds. The process is going to be the same there. You just want to make sure that you can identify whatever pitch the sample you're going to be using is on, and then that's going to be your root note. And then from there you can make the range whatever you want it to be. But just make sure you identify whatever that root note is so it plays the sample at the proper thing. Otherwise you're going to be like hitting C and it's really going to be playing like E, and you're going to be like, well, I don't understand. This sounds like it's out of key, but I'm hitting all the right notes. It's just going to be confusing. So just remember to change that root note over. It's the same idea for Logic Pro. You can use these same steps to do this in Logic Pro. It's only slightly different, but there's a lot more options in Logic Pro on how to get your samples in there. I wanted to make a video specifically for GarageBand because I know a lot of people out there are balling on a budget and you're just trying to use what you have access to and you don't know how to get all these things in there. You're finding really cool free stuff to use, but you don't know how to actually get it in there to be able to use it. So this is a really easy way to get all of that set up. Alright guys, that's the end of this video. I hope that did help some of you guys out there. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you have any questions about what I did here, please leave that in the comments. Also, leave comments about what you want to see in future videos. If you want to know more about beat production or music production, about playing instruments, about, you know, different plugins and stuff like that. Anything that I know anything about, I'll be sure to make a video on for you guys if you have questions about it. Also remember to follow me on Instagram @ColtonStone because I'll be sure to post when I'm putting up a new video and stuff like that, so I'll keep you up to date. There's also some videos on there of me just playing around, playing instruments, making beats, all that kind of stuff. So give me a follow on Instagram and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.